evening, Chairman Church, elected officials, and town staff. My name is Steve Huening, that's Huening. My local address is W1763 Lake Road on Lake Beulah. My wife and I have been part-time residents of East Troy for 35 years, and I stand before you tonight hoping to accomplish three things. The first thing is a thank you. I want to thank you for donating your time, your energy to serve the citizens of East Troy. Having served in a similar capacity in my hometown for almost a decade, I know firsthand how much time and energy it takes to serve the public and how difficult it is to absorb all the information, the facts, the figures on many, many issues, and coming up with a discussion and a decision on a rapid pace. So thank you. Thank you each and every one of you. The second thing is I'm encouraging you to accept our invitation to attend Saturday's meeting. It is the first substantial collection of scientific study made available from across the nation. We've worked long and hard as an organization to protect Lake Beulah. I also serve as treasurer of Lake Beulah right now, having followed my wife, who served 8 years as well. So we've donated some time and energy as well to the community on the board of Protect Lake Beulah, previously known as the LBPIA. We'd like you to attend that meeting. It's Saturday, March 29th, beginning at 9 a.m. at the Intergenerational Community Center. It's an important opportunity to hear expert testimony, not just hearsay, not just people who use the lake, like to wake surf, like to fish. It is professionals, it's scientific experts. So I implore you to make time in your schedule to attend that meeting and learn firsthand what's happening around the nation in regards to wake boat issue, water quality, things of that nature. The third thing, as a concerned citizen and a riparian owner, I respectfully request that you delay taking action regarding the ballot language regarding wake surfing during the upcoming annual meeting. I ask you to do this because I ask you to wait for the results of an important study that's going to occur. In cooperation with the Management District, Protect Lake Beulah has already begun the process to do exactly the type of study that the residents have asked for, and that we believe will show clear data, both in support of some of the concerns, but also the limits on those concerns. So, to the extent possible, I would like to encourage you, and I have in fact written a letter to Chairman Church asking you to set aside the language determination for the April meeting and let this play out over the summer. Let us collaborate with the wake boaters, let us collaborate with the fishermen, let's absorb scientific data specific to Lake Beulah before we make a decision to ban, to restrict, to allow. There is too much at stake. This is a lake that has been known nationwide as one of the cleanest, clearest, most enjoyable lakes. You heard it earlier tonight, there is $1 billion in assessed value nestled around that lake. And there are many scientific studies that show water quality is the clearest determination of riparian property values. Let's not jeopardize that. We're at a crucial point in the health and economic welfare of Lake Beulah. Let's take the time to get it right. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jane Didier Wegner, and I live at W2393 Troy Hill Lane. I am also someone who grew up on the lake at W2035 Beulah Heights Road. And I am the daughter of the late Paul Didier, who stood, I'm sure, in this room many times speaking with the town board about many issues and concerns regarding Lake Beulah. But tonight I've been asked to represent Dr. Scott Miller, who could not attend this evening because of a prior commitment, but wished to make his opinion known. So I do have something here I'd like to read from him. Dear members of the Town of East Troy Board, my name is Dr. Scott Miller, and I'd like to take this opportunity to address my concerns regarding a threat to the ecological health of Lake Beulah. My family has been on Lake Beulah since the 1920s, and care and concern for the lake has been a part of our DNA for about a century. In the early 2000s, I joined the board of what was then known as the Lake Beulah Protective and Improvement Association, at a time when our biggest concerns were zebra mussels and Eurasian milfoil. I started out under the leadership of my mentor, Paul Didier, as the water quality chair, and was involved in organizing and analyzing data that had been collected on the lake for several decades. Within a year of my joining the board, the village of East Troy sunk a high-capacity well near the lake, and our attention was focused on monitoring the effects of that well on the hydrology of the lake. Bob Nauta was instrumental in helping us understand the implications of the well, as well as craft a plan for monitoring for changes. A lengthy and costly legal battle ensued, with multiple appeals and decisions that eventually made its way to the Supreme Court, Wisconsin Supreme Court. I was the president of the LBPIA when the court issued what now is referred to as the Beulah decision. That decision ruled that groundwater falls under the jurisdiction of the public trust doctrine. The public trust doctrine goes something like this: you can own land near a lake, but you can't own the lake. It belongs to the public. By saying this, the court said that groundwater belongs to all of us, gave the DNR expanded powers over groundwater rights. The court also explicitly stated that any damages made to the lake by the well would be adequate grounds for suit against the village of East Troy. This decision has played a part in water rights legal proceedings across the country and has greatly influenced the operation of the well by the village of East Troy. Because of resignations to the board of Protect Lake Beulah, I have been asked to resume duty as the water quality chair, and I look forward to working with the board in this capacity. Once again, lakes across Wisconsin are facing threats to their welfare, this time from wake boats. These boats use large ballast tanks to sink the hull low in the water so that it can displace waves up to 3 feet high. Their powerful engines and specialized props can disturb the lake bottom to great depths. Wake boats can be fun for the few who own and operate them, but that is at the cost of significant ecological damage to the lake that is owned by everyone as a part of the public trust doctrine. For the love of Beulah, my hope is that the town board will attend the informational meeting on the 29th to learn more details about the hazards posed by wake boats. Sincerely, Scott Miller, MD. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a board member who would like to speak, and then Mr. Booth, then go.
Listen, running down 8324 Emo Court. I would like to address the remarks made by the former chairman at the public debate that was held in Wauwatosa Baptist Church and now has hit the East Troy newspaper that were directed at me. The former chairman stated in his comments that the reason for his resignation was, quote, because of the decision making by the town board and county. He also stated that if he was not on the board, then he could, quote, tell the truth about what is going on. I am not sure what he means, but because he has not really come out and said what those reasons are. I am only concerned about the issues that I felt were directed at me, and I would like to respond to them at this point. I assume that the main issue for his comments is the rezone for the West Rod Cottage Industries. The former chairman has repeatedly claimed that I did not provide reasoning for my vote, did not consider the evidence presented, and failed to adhere to the law in my decision on the rezone. There has been considerable debate surrounding the nature of the action, specifically when it comes to quasi-judicial or legislative. It is important to note that according to the state of Wisconsin, rezones are considered a legislative action. This allows board members the freedom to conduct their own research when making a decision on a rezone. For my part, I consider the evidence provided by the applicant, the planning commission, and the county zoning commissioner informing my decision. I also made sure to provide my reasoning at the first meeting verbally when the original vote was taken. I clarified that my reasoning was on file and that the clerk could refer to it when preparing the resolution. Furthermore, the former chairman has repeatedly referenced a special meeting that was held at the property in question. This is inaccurate. I contacted the applicant to see if it would be okay to stop at the property and walk through to help me better understand the property and what the rezoning issue was. At no point did I meet with any other board members, and to my knowledge, no special meeting was ever held at that location with any other board members. During the debate, the former chairman mentioned several times that he advised me to remember that I am only one vote, to conduct my research, make my decisions, and stick with them, without losing sleep over them. While I appreciate his advice, I find it difficult to reconcile his comments with his own actions. The former chairman's decision to resign following multiple decisions that did not go his way makes me question his leadership in this matter. I want to make it clear that I am not writing the statement to disparage the former chairman. Rather, I am writing to correct the public record and clarify that the statements he made regarding my actions are incorrect. I remain committed to making decisions that are in the best interest of the town of East Troy, and I can assure the electors that they can continue to rely on me to act with integrity and diligence. Thank you for your time and attention on this matter.
Good evening, town board members and everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to provide input. My name is Brian Ballou, and I'm Vice President of Protect Lake Beulah, or PLB. As PLB's marketing leader, it was my idea to change our name to Protect Lake Beulah because I believe it's truly foundational to our mission. Tonight, I want to talk with you briefly about a critical topic that in our view requires a call to action, and that is aquatic invasive species, or AIS. Most of us know about invasive plants like milfoil because we can see them on Beulah. On the animal side of things, spiny water fleas are already in 20 Wisconsin lakes, and quagga mussels, if I'm pronouncing that right, are in Lake Geneva. Unfortunately, neither of these invasive species can be eliminated. Now, Wisconsin does have statutes, we know about them, regarding draining all the water from a boat before it leaves the launch area. This is Wisconsin's Clean Boats, Clean Waters program, in which hundreds of volunteers check boats at landings for invasives and to confirm that all the water is drained from everything, including the live wells holding the fish. But live wells are not the issue here. They're readily accessible, they can be easily inspected, they're easily decontaminated with a spray bottle, and they can be completely drained, wiped dry, or left open air to dry. No special training, equipment, or hot water are needed. Ballasted boats are a whole other kettle of fish, or should I say invasives. Because it's not possible to truly inspect most ballast systems, weight boats are almost impossible to make invasive free, even though they may contain many, many gallons of lake water. So in that sense, ballasted boats are a special concern directly relevant to Lake Beulah right now. We know that invasives spread easily to areas damaged by prop wash and wakes. And now we have the scientific evidence and the underwater video drone footage of how damaged Lake Beulah already is by these factors. In Protect Lake Beulah's view, we have a clear choice before us. We can ignore the problem as it continues to accelerate and get worse. We can chase after it in an effort to fix it with ever-increasing amounts of taxpayer dollars, while local property values and the tax base funding that effort decline. Or we can make a good faith effort to address wake-enhanced boating quickly before we reach a tipping point and the problem becomes too big to solve. There really is no compromising or delaying with aquatic invasive species. In the view of Protect Lake Beulah, we need to have the foresight to take action now to protect the lake for future generations. So we urge you, for the love of Lake Beulah and the future, to seize this moment and join us in protecting Lake Beulah for generations to come. Thank you.
My name is Carrie Franzine, I live at W1530 South Shore Drive. I am not here to talk to myself, but to read a letter that has been provided by Jennifer Torch, dated March 24th, 2025. Her address is N9174 Humphrey Lane. Dear Town Board members, I am Jennifer Torch, and I hold my PhD in plant sciences. I have the expertise and credentials to understand, evaluate, and take a position on the wake surfing issue on Lake Beulah. Lake Beulah is not suited for wake surfing due to its size, shape, depth, and underwater topography. I served as the founding director of the Cheadle Center of Biodiversity and Ecological Restoration at the University of California, Santa Barbara for 14 years. In my position, I oversaw the restoration and management of 350 acres of campus lands along the California coast. We were responsible for understanding the ecology, external impacts, and long-term threats to the coastal habitats. Protect Lake Beulah was advised by Supervisor Reyes that our organization needed to conduct studies specific to Lake Beulah by the board to accurately evaluate and make a decision on impacts of wake surfing. We have responded to Supervisor Reyes' request by conducting underwater drone studies, and additional studies will be forthcoming. In Wisconsin, 39 townships representing 260 lakes have banned wake surfing. Bob Nauta, the water quality expert who has conducted studies on Lake Beulah, will also be providing data and evidence as to the damage wake surfing has and will continue to cause the water quality and ecosystems that have been important features of our beautiful lake. I'm confident you will be provided with a scientific data specific to Lake Beulah that will allow you to make an evidence-based decision that will protect our lake now and for the future generations. For the love of Lake Beulah, let's calm the waves. Thank you.
Your turn.
My name is Tom Daniel Bogart. I'm the president of Protect Lake Beulah, and address is W2035 Beulah Heights Road for when I'm at the lake. I am so proud of my board for all of them to show up, and I hope that their passion for Lake Beulah came through in their presentations tonight. When they heard that I was taken off of the agenda and I wasn't going to be able to promote the event that we worked so hard to put on, they came up with this scenario of having us all speak a different portion of why we as Protect Lake Beulah represent the health and the well-being of the lake, and we will continue to do so. I wrote like 3 different speeches and changed it each time, but I think that this is the door hanger that we use as an organization when we recruit members for our organization. And it states who we are and what we do. There seems to be a word on the street out there that Protect Lake Beulah has become something different than what it used to be. And I want to assure you that we have not, that we stick to this mission and we live to this mission. As you heard earlier, it began in 1894. PLB has grown into an effective organization seeking to assure that the pristine beauty and quality of Lake Beulah remains for future generations. That is our goal. What do we do? We serve as a voice on the matters that affect the health and the well-being of the lake. We have shown pictures of the damage that is being done. We've documented it. There are scars on our lake that are like the scars on the back of a manatee. And in talking to the habitat experts, that when this vegetation is eliminated, which has been here for centuries, it can take 10 to 20 years for it to restore itself if it does at all. And what it does is it opens a space for invasives to take root. So it is ecologically something that can damage our lake. And that is part of our mission. We assist in the monitoring of the water quality, the fisheries, educational programs for youth and users of the lake. we heard that that's something that's needed. That's what this session is that we're doing. And we will continue to do educational sessions on this topic to educate the public. My friend over here, John Finney, in conversations with him, he said, I agree with you guys that these wake boats are really bad for the lake, but you guys are way ahead of everybody else in the learning curve, and you need to slow down, you need to take the time to educate and bring everybody up to speed with what are the concerns with this issue. And that's what we're asking for tonight, and that's what we'll continue to do. We probably could do a better job of collaboration, but again, I heard marks to degrade the name of Lake Beulah. I have reached out several times, as you know, for us to get together, and it hasn't happened. We have a newsletter that we put out that's very educational, that we put out 2 times a year. We get praise on it every time. We reached out to Mary Quirk to have them put an article in the newsletter, and her comment was, you are a false narrative on this lake and we want nothing to do with you, was the comment that she made. And that is false. We stand behind every article that we wrote. We study it. We look at all the references associated with it, and we look to see how it pertains to Lake Beulah. And in that vein, one of the other bullet points is that we will cooperate with other entities and organizations to benefit the overall health of the lake. And we have partnered with the Last Wilderness Alliance, and they
You have to honor this time.
okay. I did also bring a map for you guys for the later discussion, but if you have any questions about where the sensitive areas are located.
Erica Fines, North 86801 West Road, and I'm not talking about Waking
Could you speak up a little, please?
Okay. Better?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not talking about Waking Tonight. This is more just something I've noticed about me, but I think it also applies to other people. I have just getting involved in understanding the whole process of how the board works and having attended the Troy Beacon Forum along with doing social media postings on YouTube, town meetings. It became apparent to me that I really didn't understand how this whole decision-making process works, like how you guys work it, and I don't think I'm alone in that. So having, knowing that the transparency, personal responsibility, and communication are kind of woven through this whole election process right now, I thought it would be beneficial to have more of an understanding of how you guys actually make decisions on critical items when you make them. And that's, again, just something in my mind. So I viewed several meetings, I've been trying to figure things out, and one of the things that stands out in my mind was a meeting with when Attorney Mills had asked the board to give reasons for decisions. Some did and some didn't, and to me that was pretty surprising and kind of shocking. So then I looked at both Joel Kay and Joel Jones speak of transparency for the board, and then researching information and making informed decisions based on data-driven and objective information, not emotionally, definitely best practices. So each of you, I know were voted into this position on the board, and I realize that your job is difficult, and there are times when making decisions are and will continue to be difficult. However, explaining your vote might help us as citizens understand a little bit more about what's going on and get us more involved in the communication and of our town. So I just want to say thank you again for what you do. I know it's not easy, and obviously this situation is definitely not easy. But for me, just not having been involved, understanding what the whole process of this is helpful. And I also want to thank Jennifer Olson and John Strauss for taking the time and effort for all these recordings and making them accessible to us and the TV and the wall. It was awesome. So thank you.
No, that's fine. I was gonna let Michelle go first. You wanna go, Joe? Go.
I just was gonna respond, N9033 East Miramar. I just took a few notes on this, and I will be attending the educational thing on Saturday. I love talking about collaboration, I really do. It's really what I'm all about, and I think what we really need in this discussion. And so, in the interest of collaboration, I would strongly recommend that the hypothesis and the control experiment parameters that you establish for this study you're planning to do, I think there's been something funded, right? That should be widely understood, and it should be widely accepted as this is going to give us the data we all need. If it's another set of criteria that a small group of people put together and then execute, it's the same as all the other data. So I would just ask that you take that under advisement, and I'd be happy to help with establishing some standard parameters on that. Ballast tanks, I heard someone talk about ballast tanks, and for ballast tanks coming into the lake that are not riparian owners with wake boats, that might be valid concerns. But for riparian owners who never leave the lake that are having wake boats, that isn't a valid concern, because you're not taking it off the lake and bringing it back in. So there's no invasive species issue if it stays on the lake, okay? So that's just a couple of points that I noticed. I am very committed to personally the ecology, the health of the lake. I live on a lake, I don't live on Lake Beulah. I do live on a lake, and I didn't want to live there because I want a mud hole, okay? But at the same time, everybody else is on that lake, and my interest is to make sure we get a majority opinion, because to me, anything we execute at this point without having some majority behind it is unsustainable. It's not going to sustain itself. There's going to be litigation, there's going to be challenges, it's just going to be an ugly thing that I think is going to impact our community. And I really would like to not see that happen. So if we could focus on that collaboration piece and bring everybody together with some solid information that they can all buy into, I think that would be a great thing. So I'm glad you're taking that action. I guess it's Lake Beulah Management District that's doing that. Yeah. Thank you.